Man finds giant rocket in forest, mouth falls open when he sees what's inside. Man finds giant rocket and forest, mouth falls open when he sees what's inside. The whole house was shaking and Kevin's ears were ringing from a loud bang. Was it an earthquake, or was Kevin's house under attack from a force bigger than he could even imagine? Standing up on shaking legs, Kevin quickly looked out his window. What was on his front lawn deserved to be in a science fiction movie, not a small town. Kevin's eyes widened in fear as he realized this could only mean one thing. Kevin took a deep breath and began to walk into the dangerous unknown. What he didn't expect was to be exploring the forest for 3 full days before finally finding something interesting after camping in the cold. For 3 days, it felt like a dream to discover this mysterious item. On the 4th day of being in the forest, Kevin came across a clearing with several mysterious items. He walked into the clearing and couldn't believe what he saw. His first instinct was to be very careful. These mysterious items obviously didn't belong here, and Kevin didn't know if they were weapons or something even more sinister. Kevin bent down to examine the parts that were all over the forest. They clearly didn't belong, and he suspected this was exactly what had made the loud noise days before. Kevin decided to continue walking into the clearing, but was stopped in his tracks by this next big discovery. Kevin saw the large metal object, but couldn't believe it. After all his years living in Alaska, he was used to seeing wild animals or dangerous creatures, but this was something entirely different. Looked like Kevin had found part of a rocket. He didn't know if he should get closer, but then saw a hole to get inside the ship. It was now or never, and Kevin knew he had to keep pushing forward to answer all his questions. Kevin didn't know anything about rockets, and he also wasn't sure if anything was at risk of exploding. He walked gingerly around the parts scattered across the forest until he came face to face with the body of the ship. It was time to make a big decision. Kevin could see a way inside the rocket, but he didn't know how secure the materials were. Was he willing to risk it all just to have a peek at the unknown? This big explosion would get a lot of attention soon. Kevin knew he might only have a few hours until other people arrived searching for this mysterious rocket ship he had located. If he wanted to explore, it was going to be now. Slowly he approached the metal ship and put one hand on the smooth shell. It was clearly an older model, but what else would the inside of the ship reveal? Kevin scanned the outside of the rocket ship to look for any clues on why it was here. Thought if he could find markings or at least a flag, he would know more about what he had discovered. While he scanned the outside of the rocket, something else caught his eye. It was partially hidden by the trees, but the closer Kevin got, the more excited he was for the big reveal. Even though Kevin had launched himself into the small opening, he had ended up in more of a tunnel within the rocket. He was forced to crawl forward, but had no idea if he was walking towards safety or danger. He slowly crawled on his stomach and began to see an opening up ahead. It was now or never, and Kevin was sweating with nerves and the sheer weight of this obstacle. Finally, he saw something that made the whole thing worthwhile. Kevin had crawled through the rocket and found the control station. It wasn't big enough for a person to sit comfortably in. Kevin relaxed, realizing there wouldn't be anyone to discover in the wreckage. Kevin had never been inside a rocket and was shocked at how much had survived the crash landing. He continued to shimmy forward and wanted to explore even more until things took a dangerous turn. As Kevin continued to explore, he found an American flag. He was relieved to know the rocket was from the States and felt less in danger of anything exploding or catching him off guard. The rocket was not big enough to fit passengers, and Kevin couldn't understand why this mysterious ship had fallen out of the sky. He was getting more intrigued by the second and then discovered one item that would answer all his questions. Kevin saw a plate that looked like it was a model number. He knew he would need any identification for anyone to believe that he had found this amazing discovery. Since the rocket was from the States who would be searching for this lost property, Kevin decided to take the identification and put it in his pocket. He had to get to a computer ASAP and let someone know what he had discovered. Would anyone believe what had landed in his backyard? Kevin found out that this rocket was actually used to transport satellites into space. When the mission was complete, the rockets were supposed to land in the ocean. It was a rare occurrence that this one had landed so near to his house. The rockets had automatic routes in place, and it would have been extremely dangerous if it had crashed anywhere else. Kevin picked up the phone and knew exactly who he had to tell. Kevin had friends in the armed forces and let them know exactly what had happened. They couldn't believe his story and said someone would be in touch very soon. He received a phone call a couple of days later from a head engineer of NASA. They appreciated his dedication and even wired him a cash reward for phoning in his discovery. Kevin still has the model plate he kept from the rocket, but the true reward was the chance to be in an object from space. Forrig.